Namaste and good morning, everyone. We'll start our class with the prayers. Om Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Now we'll chant Mahamrutyunjaya mantra 3 times to pray for those who are in suffering. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukam Eva Bandhana Mrutyurmukshiyamamrutat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukam Eva Bandhana Mrutyurmukshiyamamrutat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukam Eva Bandhanan Mrutyurmukshiyamamrutat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Welcome everyone. Today we are having the class number 13 for this course, SANS-02. And today we will cover some more nominal forms. We saw a number of nominal forms in our previous classes. So namely, Akaranta masculine like Rama, then Akaranta neuter Vana. There is no Akaranta feminine. Then Akaranta feminine, Ikaranta feminine, Gita, Nari. And then Ikaranta masculine, Ikaranta striling, feminine, and Ikaranta neuter. Then we also saw the Ukaranta, which are very similar. Ikaranta and Ukaranta are very similar. Again, they are also in all the 3 genders. And then Rukaranta, like Pitru, Matru, Kartru. So there are 2 different types here. One is relation noun, another is agent noun. So these many we saw as far as the vowel endings are concerned. So today we'll see a few more, and the ones which we will cover today, vowel ending irregular, they are not really very common. And when I say irregular, it simply means that more rules apply to them in order to derive the forms. In that sense, they are irregular, not that they are exception or anything. So some of those are here. They also don't occur so often in the literature, but they do. And that's why these need to be studied. So Panini, when he has given the rules for deriving the nouns in this session, whatever we were covering. In some cases, he has specified for a particular word that's how it should be derived. So there are some rules which are defined just for a very specific word. So pati and sakhi are like that. So pati means husband. It's a masculine noun. And it is ikaranta masculine, but unlike ikaranta masculine which we saw Hari, there are some differences. So some differences you can see, for example, in fifth and sixth case singular. So there it is harehe, here it is patyuhu. So similarly, there it is harina, haraye, harehe, harehe. Here it is patya, patye, patyuhu, patyuhu. So there are some differences here. And again, the question will arise, do you need to memorize all these tables? I would not recommend that. People do memorize, some of the people in India who study a lot, but all you can do is you can refer to these tables. Keep these tables as a reference. And then when you are solving the exercise, use them as a reference table. And slowly, the ones which are more used in the literature, you would automatically start recognizing them. That, oh, this is this word, and that's the form. Similarly, there is another word called sakhi. That is also masculine. And it's ikaranta ending in short e, but it has its own declensions, which is different from hari as well as slightly different from pati. So just to read them and see wherever you will find the difference. You like patayaha, for example, here it's sakhayaha. So particularly in the first case and second case, you will see the difference. But keep as I said, keep these tables with you and then use them. Pati has a special another rule there, that if it appears at the end of a compound, say for example we say bhupati. Bhupati means, so pati is a husband as well as the lord, or the, so pati, bhupati, bhu means earth, pati means lord, so lord of the earth, it is referred to the king, bhupati. So when you have something like that kind of noun, then it will have the same declensions as hari. So when pati comes to in the end of a compound word, then it will follow the declension similar to hari. So that just to keep that in mind with specifically with pati. That is a special rule just for this word. So then you have another noun ending in akara. So gopa, and normally we saw akaranta as feminine, and that's what is most common. But there are some which are masculine, and the declensions differ slightly. And here you have the gopa. Gopa means cowherd, one who protects the cows. Then you have similarly ikaranta, like senani, army general, who, so these are ikaranta, and generally we have seen ikaranta noun as feminine, like nari, a woman, or nadi, a river. But in this case, there are certain masculine nouns ending in long e. So just to see that how are they formed, so there are three examples here: Sudhi, Vataprami, Senani. Similarly, these are the long ukara ending. Khalapu means sweeper, pratibhu means guarantor. So when you solve the exercise for this chapter, and there are some more similarly, like close to, which is a very special word, has some optional forms. Then rai for wealth, aikaranta noun, go, okaranta noun. Go, which is cow or bull, it is one word which is the same in both masculine and feminine. So the same word, there is no separate feminine form of go. Go itself is masculine and feminine, and their forms are same, whether it is a masculine word or feminine word. And then there is a glove, moon. So then this is another word, jara, which is goes a little differently. It looks like an akaranta noun, feminine noun, but it has slightly different forms. And then nirjara. So what we have done is, actually, Swami Tapasyananji, he put this table here. Nominal declensions. He has updated all these forms so that you will have a handy reference, and you can either keep it in the soft copy if you like, or print it out for your reference, and you can print multiple pages in one sheet. That way you can see them for a quicker reference. So all these nouns are here with the tables. That file is updated along with the older nominals which we covered. So other than that, the specific rules, how these forms are derived, they are certainly beyond the scope of this course. So just look at them and understand, and when you are working on the exercises for this lesson, then keep them as a reference table. Other than that, their usage, etc., that is pretty much the same as it is in the any other form. So today I wanted to cover also the consonant ending stems, and they are a little bit more interesting. We can discuss a little bit more detail about the rules here, because the number of rules applicable here are less. So consonant ending nouns could be one stem noun, two stem noun, and three stem noun. And this I had discussed earlier once when in the class 10 I was discussing the Panini methodology. So this is the single table which is used for all the nominal declensions. So no matter what kind of declension could it be, irregular, regular, consonant ending, vowel ending, it doesn't matter. Panini has taken a single set of suffixes and used this single set of suffixes to derive every single nominal and pronominal form. Also, it is used for the pronouns. So let us just chant this table once more. I'll repeat and you repeat after me. So the actual suffix is su, but the portion which is used is just sakara. So in some cases, like you can see in the bracket, I have mentioned the portion used versus the original suffix. So I'll chant this thing and you repeat after me. Su, au, jas. Out, shas. ta, bhyam, bhis. Ne, bhyam, bhyas. Nasi, bhyam, bhyas. Nas, os, am. Ni, os, sup. So you can memorize this table. Just repeat these suffixes for a few times and you will memorize, because this will help you with the, particularly with the consonant ending. And in the class 10 notes, we did a fair good detail of how these suffixes are used. So we defined two common rules. One is final sakara of a word changes into refa and from refa to visarga. So when you see the final sakara coming at the end of a word because of these suffixes, particularly this kind of suffixes, nominative singular, nominative plural, here also sakara. So sakara is coming here. So quite a few places you see like ending sakara is there. That changes into refa and then to visarga. So essentially sakara changes into a visarga. So that is one rule. Simple. Like Rama. Rama plus sakara becomes Rama. Then another is final consonant of a word if part of a conjunct consonant is dropped. So like Sarit. And we did these declinations in fairly good detail in the last exercise, in the last class. Last means number 10. Sarit and sakara, so it becomes a conjunct consonant. Here takara plus sakara. So final sakara will drop. Basically final consonant is dropped. Here it happens to be sakara. So what does that tell you is that if a word ending in consonant, then the first person singular, which is only sakara, that will drop off. So the word would remain as such in the nominative singular. And then there are, besides these two rules, you have to use the sandhi rules, whatever the applicable. So for example, we saw sarid bhyam. So we remember, if you remember, we did the declensions of the word sarit in the class number 10. And here we had sarit bhyam in the instrumental dual. So sarit plus bhyam, and it became sarit bhyam. So how did takara becomes dakara? That is because of the sandhi rules we had studied earlier. So takara plus bhakara becomes dakara and bhakara based upon the consonant sandhi rules. So what are those consonant sandhi rules? Those are covered in detail in class number 8 notes. You can refer to them. And just if you in this particular case for the consonant ending nouns, you mostly need these two rules. So unvoiced stop becomes a voiced stop before a voiced consonant or a vowel. And from the alphabet, you all know that which are voiced consonants and which are unvoiced consonants. And similarly, there was another one where the voiced stop becomes unvoiced stop before an unvoiced consonant. So tat kamalam, etat sarvada. So dakara before sakara becomes takara. Basically, it takes the first column letter. So when it becomes unvoiced consonant, it will take the first column letter, takara, for example, for dakara. Now look at this table of suffixes. We made it into the three portions. One is first 5 suffixes, su, au, jas, and out. These are the 5. So that is, you can say, one category of suffixes. The second category was the suffixes which start with a vowel. So these are like us, a, us, e, os, am. So this is the second category of suffixes. And third category of suffixes which start with a consonant. So here if you look at, there are these 6 suffixes which start with bhakara. They all start with same consonant, bhakara. And bhakara happens to be a voiced consonant. And then there is this suffix which starts with sakara. And sakara happens to be an unvoiced consonant. So when you have these, when you are bringing the word before these suffixes, or we call vibhakti also in Sanskrit, then as per the sandhi rule, you will be putting the third letter of the letter from the third column, this one. Gakara, jakara, dakara, dakara, or bakara. And before sakara, because it becomes an unvoiced consonant, the first column letter will come. So like in sarit, we saw it became sarit bhyam from the third column, and it became sarit su from the first column. So just to revisit the sarit, how did we derive sarit? And then when it is before the consonant, really there is no sandhi, because it's a before the vowel and before the vowel initial suffixes, then there is no sandhi. All you need to do is just put the word together, because it's a consonant ending word, and wherever it is ending in sakara, there you will make the visarga. So to derive these forms using consonant ending nouns is really simple. So like for example sarit. So sarit, sakara will drop because it becomes a conjunct consonant at the end of the word. So remains sarit. Then for the consonants, all you have to do is just put them together. Saritau, saritaha. Here sakara becomes visarga. Saritam. This is also vowel starting, sorry, not vowel ending, vowel starting suffixes. Saritau, saritaha. Then sarita, akara. Then bhyam. So bhyam, as I said, it will take the third column letter. So it becomes dakara. So takara becomes dakara. So sarit bhyam, sarit bhihi. Here it becomes bhi because it's a sakara in the end. So it becomes visarga. So bhyam repeats 3 times. It becomes the same. And here fourth case singular would become sarite. So simply you just put the words, put the letters together. And then saritaha. So for vowel initial suffixes, really there is no sandhi involved. All you are doing is putting the words together, putting the letters together. And then saridhya, saritaha, saritoho, saritam. These are all vowel initial suffixes. Then sariti, locative, saritsu. So here it became the first column. So even if suppose the base word would have been ending in dakara, the third column letter. That also would have changed to takara only before sakara. Then vocative, sarit, saritav, saritaha. Another good thing about these nouns is that masculine and feminine, they are same. Like there is no difference in how do you derive the masculine or feminine tables. The word itself will be either feminine or masculine, but the way you will come up with the declension table, that is same. There is no difference, generally speaking, in the masculine and feminine for these consonant ending words. So in consonant ending, there is a one stem noun, there are two stem nouns, and there are three stem nouns. So one stem noun means, so where does this terminology come from? One stem noun, two stem noun, three stem nouns. It comes from the same which I told you, three categories. First five in one category, then vowel initial suffixes and consonant initial suffixes. So there are certain base words which behave differently depending upon which category suffixes are being applied. So that's how in English they have translated as one stem suffixes. So wherever the forms differ only in one set of suffixes, they are saying one stem suffixes, one stem declension, two stem declension, or three stem. So three stem noun, two stem noun. So that's where the differentiation is coming. What we are going to cover today, the consonant ending nouns, they are all one stem. So they will not have different rules based upon which category of suffixes are being applied. So before I move on, I just want to see if there are any questions. So there is a question, is there a difference for the neuter though? Yes, that's a good question. So there is a difference for the neuter, and I want just was to come to that. So I'll show you what is the difference here. So you see this word ending in takara, sarit, and jagat. So jagat is neuter, sarit is feminine. We did sarit. So in the first and second case, and also in the vocative case, of course, because vocative is the same as first, you will have the different forms, but they will be common as the case in neuter. Jagat, jagati, jaganti. Jagat, jagati, jaganti. Then vocative also jagat, jagati, jaganti. They will be different, but otherwise they will be the same. So marut, which is masculine, and sarit, which is feminine, you will see they are identical. Identical in the sense that all the way the table is derived, it is the same. So that part will hold good in neuter, that first, second, and vocative, they would be the only cases which are different, and in themselves they are identical. First is identical to second, and then it is identical to the vocative. So that's what we will see in our first one stem nouns. Now, in our book, this is from the lesson 19 in Sanskrit Subodhini. The book has covered the nouns ending, nominal basis ending in these consonants in this chapter. So there are certain other nominal bases which end up in different consonants other than these, but I will just take these because that's what are more common and that's what the book has also taken. So I'm just putting the so takara, dakara and dhakara. As you know, these are from in alphabet. They are from the same, they are pronounced from the same place. They are takara, thakara, dakara here. So they share some similarities. We have already done for takara, like Marut, Jagat, Sarit. If it is dakara or dhakara, there is not really much difference. You remember, both of them are voiced consonants. So if you go here and see dakara, so one is dakaranta noun is apad. It means adversity. It's a feminine noun. So in the first nominative singular, it becomes apat. So that is one thing you have to see, that nominative singular would generally have the letters from the first column. So it will have apat. It will not have apad. Even though technically apad, the word itself as such, is valid. But so both of these forms are alternate, like in the sense both of them are valid, apad or apat. But generally it is apat which is used. So that's why I just mentioned one form here, which is more commonly used, rather than specifying alternative forms. If you read in the higher grammar books, you will find they will say apat slash apad. So both, because the rule which says at the end drop sakara of the nominative singular, that would make it apad. So, but it also supports the first column letter, and that is more common, apad. Similarly, in the chud, which is dhakaranta, it is takaranta. So again it becomes chut. Then other things remain the very similar. Apadahu, apadaha, you just add the suffixes. Su, au, jas, so au, us, then then au, then us again, then a, then bhyam, then bhis. So they all remain the same. Here, because the word itself is apad, you don't have to do any sandhi rule here, bhyam, because it remains the same thing. It is already a voiced consonant. But in chudha, even though it's dhakara, it becomes dakara, chudbhyam. So for the vowel initial, it will remain dhakara, but for consonant initial bhakara, it becomes dakara. So to keep that in mind, that is as per the sandhi rules. And then you see the su, the locative plural. So it becomes apatsu. And that kind of gives you a clue that if you know the nominative singular, and if it is the first column letter, the same thing will also be here, apatsu. And corresponding third column letter would be here in these 6 consonant initial declensions. Same thing here. It also becomes shutsu. Dhakara also becomes first because here it's shut, so shutsu. So in the book you will find that he has mentioned what is the nominative singular. But generally you can find nominative singular yourself also. So it will typically end in the first column letter. So that way it is pretty straightforward. Takara, dakara, dhakara. Now ending in chakara and jakara. That is the palatal sounds. So they typically end in kakara. As per the rule, you like for example, let's say vach. So this is ending in chakara. But here the nominative singular in this case will become kakara. It does not remain chakara. There are some other rules which we are not covering in detail, but just to let you know that it will not remain as chakara, it will become the kakara, vak. And then correspondingly, when you are doing the consonant initial suffixes, these 6, it becomes gakara, the third column letter of the gakara. So the third column letter, as you can see, ka, kha, ga, it's gakara. So it becomes gakara. All right. And then here in the vowel initial suffixes, you don't have to do anything. So vacha, vachau, vachaha, vache. Then here, vak, chu. So it's a shu and vak. So you will use this one, vak. So vak, shu. And you know, last time I covered that sakara becomes shakara if it is preceded by kakara or a vowel other than akara and akara. So it becomes vak, shu. Samraj, this word has another rule which makes it not samrak but samrat. So normally you would expect ending in jakara will have as kakara as the ending letter, but in case of some stems it changes into takara. So but once you know this, then other things remain the same. So samrat bhyam, you will take the third column letter for the consonant initial suffixes and samrat su. So same samrat su will come here. Then we'll see the refa ending. Here is one example of refa ending, gir. Gir means voice or speech. So here you have to see the nominative singular, it becomes gihi. It elongates, so from short it becomes long and refa becomes visarga. Other than that, you will not have much of a change here. Then ending in shakara. So shakara, I have taken 2 examples here. Vish, which is a merchant caste person, and Dish. So general rule in Shakara is that it becomes Takara. That's the general rule. But then there are some words like Dish where it becomes Kakara. So when you do the declensions in the book, they have given, the author has given whether it will be Takara or Kakara for a given particular word. Other than that, again, there is no difference actually. So exactly the same. Once you understand that part, then there are no more variations. So Dik, Dishau, Dishaha, and then Digbhyam and Dikshu, like that. Then ending in Sakara. So there are quite a few nominal words which end in Sakara. And many of them are quite common, and they are, so one of them is starting is Sumanas. It means a good-hearted man or woman. The same word is used for both genders, masculine and feminine. So one thing you have to see here, in the masculine or feminine, it becomes Sumanaha, just like we saw for Gil. It elongates and becomes Visarga. And here it becomes Sumanobhyam. So before consonant initial suffixes, it becomes Sumanobhyam. And here in the last seventh plural, it becomes Sumanasu. So Visarga comes in the middle of the word. It's not very common to appear for the Visarga in the middle of the word, but here it comes. So Sumanasu. You can see from the rules which we have studied so far, why is it happening? Because Sakara becomes Visarga. So that's why it becomes Sumanaha actually. So that's why Sumanaha and then Su. Here also the similar thing, why it becomes Okara, because Sumanaha, if it is like Ramaha, if it were to think of Ramaha, and then before Bhakara it becomes Ramo. So that's why it becomes Sumanobhyam. So that's how you can see why is it happening. Now, there are lot of nouns in this category that is ending in Sakara. They are neuter. And the neuter ones are done, it is Yashaha. So you saw in the masculine it becomes Sumanaha, long, but not here. Yashaha, Yashaha, like that. And then Yashasi, Yashansi. So that is the difference. Other than that, they will be the same as masculine. So Yashasha, Yashahasu, only the first and second case will be different. So if you see this word Yashaha, normally you will think it's like Rama, Ramaha. So there you have to be careful. Many times you will be stumped thinking it's a nominative singular while it could be accusative singular. So to keep that in mind. Similarly, Haves, Ayush, they are just different nouns ending in Sakara. And here the difference is, you see it becomes Havishi, Havinshi, Shakara. So why is it happening? You know that rule. If the Sakara preceded by vowels other than Akara or Akara, then it becomes Shakara. So that's the reason. Havishi. Similarly, Ayushi. Ukara, here it is Ayunshi. Ayu means life, Ayus. So many of these words are quite common, particularly neuter words in ending in Sakara, like Manas, Manaha. So that is a Manas. That's a neuter noun. Manas means Manaha. So with this, I'll take any questions if you have. Okay, so there is a question. Can you please go over the 1 versus 2 versus 3 stem nouns again? So this is the thing which I had explained here, that one stem noun will not differ based upon which category of suffixes. So there are 3 categories of suffixes here. First category is first 5, then consonant ending and vowel, consonant initial and vowel initial. So that's what makes it 1 stem, 2 stem or 3 stem. The example we saw earlier, Rajan. So if you remember Rajan, when we saw, or Atman. So Atman was 2 stem, like the form differ here. It's Atmanav in these, but here it becomes Atmanaha. In Rajan, it differs in 3 places. So if I see the Rajan forms here, page number 19. See here, Rajan, the percentage has even color coded it. So that's where you see the 3 stem now, because there are 3 different set of rules which apply. So here the akara becomes akara, Raja now. Then here it remains akara in the consonant initial, and the vowel initial it becomes akara is even dropped. So that these are the 3. That's how they are called 1 stem, 2 stem, or 3 stem nouns. But today's whatever we are covering in today's class, they are all 1 stem nouns. So there is a question: will these tables be made available in repository? They are already. I told you, the percentage has already put the hard work together for so that you don't have to, and they are already in the repository. Okay, so with this, if there are no more questions, I'll take some Gita examples. So, for example, here you see the word in verse number 4, 1-4, Yudhi. So by Yudhi, if you are not familiar, you will not know which case, which number it might be. But if you are familiar with the tables, then you will see here like Chudh, Chudhi, 7th case singular. So the word Chudh, Chudhi, it's a 7th case singular. So similarly, Yudhi, Yudh is the word and it's a 7th case singular. So Yudhi means in the, Yudh means battle. So Yudhi means in the battle, or in the military prowess. So equal in military prowess. That's what it is. Here another word you see, Uttamauja. So this is Uttamaujaha. That's why you see the Sandhi becomes Uttamaujascha. So Uttamaujaha. And this is Uttama Ojaha. Yes. That's a compound word, but it's the name here. And Uttamauja. Like the word would be something like this. Uttamaujaha. Now, what would be the base word here? What case and case, which number it would be? So that would be you see Sumanaha, Sumanas. So Sumanaha, nominative singular. So the base word here would be Uttamaujas. Literally it's a name, but literally it would mean one who has supermost strength, vigor, vitality. Ojas, Uttama, Ojas, Yasyasa. But so this is how, so sometimes it can be tricky if you do not understand these words, that how they become nominative singular, and this is the Pratipadika, this is the base word. But once you understand these logic and these tables, it should be fairly straightforward. Similarly, here you see the word Manaha. So Manaha, I already told you. Here the word is Manaha, and it is coming from like Yashaha, Yashas, Yashaha. So the Pratipadika here is Manas. Manas. So Manas means mind or heart. So whose mind is established. So here it is nominative singular. So depending upon the context, you will know whether the word is nominative singular or accusative singular, because the form is the same. Yashaha, Yashaha. Then I just brought this example. This is like Bhruboho. So this is 6 case singular, and it's an irregular vowel ending noun. So if you look at, I don't know whether we have exactly the same noun here, vowel ending irregular, but we have bhuhu. So it is similar to bhuhu, like bhuvoho. So bhuvoho. If you look at the, if it were irregular ukaranta noun, then it would be like vadhu, vadbhoho, not vadhuboho. So slightly different here. Then here again, this one, manasa. You see here the manasavendriya gramam, the actual word would be manasa plus eva, manasaiva, and then indriya. That becomes another sandhi. So manasa eva, manasaiva. Manasa, here if you look at which case and which number would it be? So that would be yashasa, third case singular. Then here you see Vedeshu Yajneshu Tapasu Chaiva. And if you are looking at this word, you might see that, you might feel that Tapaha is separate and Su is separate, but it's not. Tapaha and Su, it is one word. Visarga comes in the middle of the word, and it's because I already showed you that like Yashaha, Yashahsu. So here the actual word would be the tapas. So when you see Tapasyananji, that is where the tapas word is coming from. It's coming a Sakaranta base word. Tapas means austerity or discipline, that kind of thing. Tapas. So a lot of common words, particularly neuter, are Sakaranta words. So definitely pay the more attention to this table. Yashas. Like Chetas, Manas, Tamas, Rajas. There are a lot of words which are very common. So there is a question: is three tense is with a strong, weak, and weaker forms learnt earlier? That's correct. Uttama Ujaha. What is the English translation? Mighty. It's a name here. So because it's a name, you don't translate the meaning of the name, but the meaning of the word itself is, yes, one who has the great strength, or the supermost strength, vigor, vitality, like that. So with this, I know it can sound a lot of words here, but once you understand the concept, vocabulary may be there, but the concept itself is not difficult. So you can try to do some classwork here, and for that you better follow the vocabulary from the book Sanskrit Subodhini. This is from lesson 19. So study these 2 pages, and using the vocabulary there in the chapter lesson 19, try to translate these 2 following sentences. So we are having right now 9:57. We'll again gather at 10 past 10. Okay, so I do not see any questions here, but I just would like to show you how to solve this. This kind of exercise here. So if you look at first this one, so look at one sentence at a time. एतस्य सम्राजः परिषदि स्वः श्वः सर्वे ऋतुजः ऋचः पठिष्यन्ति. So etasya, you already know, it's a pronoun etad, and 6th case singular. So tad is tasya, etad is etasya, 6th singular. Etad means this. Samrajaha. Now look at the word samraja. So samraja, this word, it's here, samraj. So you see samraja comes 4 places: nominative plural, accusative plural, ablative singular, 5th case singular, and 6th case singular. So which one would be applicable here? How do you know which one would be applicable here? So that will depend upon the context. So we'll see, but you understand that these are the 4 possibilities. Parishadi. Parishadi is simple. Parishadi is the 6th case, 7th case singular. Like here, Jagati. Maruti. So it's a 7th case singular. Like Apadi, Parishadi. So Parishad means council. Samraja means the king. Shoha is a indeclinable. It simply means tomorrow. Sarve is also all. Sarve means all. Now Ritujaha, Richaha, Patishyanti. So Ritujaha and Richaha, again these 2 words, they are also so it is like Ritujaha is like ending in Jakara. So just like Samrajaha, Ritujaha also is possible in all these 4 cases. First plural, second plural, 5th singular, 6th singular. And Richaha, like Vach, Richaha also is the same way. So these 4 forms are common: nominative plural, accusative plural, 5th and 6th case singular. So how do you know? So there are 3 words here like that, for which we immediately do not know what are the forms, what particular case and number it will take. So look at the word meaning. Rituj means the priest, and rich means hymns, and patishyanti here is it's a future tense form of pat. Pat means to read or recite. So it is a lat lakara, that present tense form, plural. So that means subject has to be plural. So patishyanti simply means they will recite. So they will recite means what? It could be the priests will recite or hymns will recite. So hymns will not recite for sure. So priests will recite, or could be the kings will recite. That could be the possibility. Both of these possibilities are there, that you could take this as the plural or this as the nominative plural. But considering the context and also the connection with the next word, parishad means council or the court. So that belongs to a king, so that should be a sixth case singular. So Rityujaha patishyanti, priests will recite. And what will they recite? Ruchaha. So Ruchaha is here becomes accusative plural. The second case, they will recite hymns. So the meaning of this sentence will be, in the assembly or court, parishad is assembly or court, assembly of this king. So etasya and samraja both are sixth case singular. Therefore, they will become like an adjective noun combination. So it of this king, sixth case singular. So in the assembly of this king tomorrow, sarve rituja, all the priests will recite the hymns. So that's how you will come to the meaning. Then next sentence, if you look at, parivrajaha api ruchaha pathanti. So this is the same problem here. You see the parivraja can come in all those four places. Ruchaha can also come in those four places. But then the verb will give us the clue. Pathanti is the present tense plural form of recite. So that should go with the priests. So parivraja should be the nominative singular. Parivraja means mendicants. So what it means? Mendicants. Api means also recite the hymns. Like that you will translate the sentence. So once you understand that part, it should be fairly straightforward. And if you have done the exercises so far, I don't see really much of a difficulty. So next week, because we will not have a class next Monday, there would be a gap. And then, so today is 14th, so 21st we will not have class. 28th we will have class again. So you will have 2 weeks. So there are 2 lessons, exercise. So there are 2 exercises here, 35 and 36. 35 is for the lesson 18, from the lesson 18 of Sanskrit Subodhini. And this one is really short. There are only simple sentences here to translate. So there are like 15 short sentences to translate. But exercise 236 is, which is based upon the 19th chapter, it's a little long. It is for the consonant ending stems. So if these are the exercises. I have already solved the first sentence for you, and I showed you right now how to get to the translation. And this is a little long. There are like long sentences, about 14 long sentences here. So just see that how much you can get to. If you can get to the whole thing, wonderful. But otherwise you can do part. And because there are 2 weeks, so that's why there are 2 exercises right now in this, and it will also take this opportunity of a gap week to come up with all the exercises which you might not have caught up with for the previous lessons. These 2 exercises are fairly simple, but they do involve a lot of vocabulary. So keep the vocabulary list with you from these 2 chapters. You can even make a separate note or print that out or take a photocopy of that page, and that will make it easier for you to solve the exercises, because that is the main thing here, lot of vocabulary, but otherwise the concept is fairly straightforward. I want to take a few questions and comments from the emails which I received. So there was this question, exercise 225, first sentence. There was a sentence, Ramo Bhaginya Saha Tam Nagrim Agachat. Rama together with his sister went to the town. The person is saying, I expected Rama together with the sister went to her town. So the her town would be probably coming from this one, Tam Nagarim. But Tam is the second case singular. In order to have the her town, it should be the 6th case singular. So Tam is the second case singular. That's why it is the adjective of Nagarim, means to that town. And I said, as the context is not there, we can translate as to the town. But literally it would mean to that town. Nagarim is the town. And here Ramaha, it does not say by with his sister, Bhaginya Saha, but because it is mentioned he's going with the sister, generally it would, context will tell you that he should be going with his sister. Then only the sister will apply, because if he is going with some other woman who is somebody else's sister, then you don't say he is going with the sister, with his sister. So that's where you see, you have to see which case it is. In order to have her town, you have to have Tasyaha Nagarim. So her town. But here is Tam Nagarim, that is the second case singular. Does the personal pronoun go in the front or after the noun it is used? Generally it is before. So that's why Tam Nagarim, not Nagarim Tam. So it is before generally. There are a few comments here. I was able to complete homework faster this week since the content was less. Also, I found it easy to translate the sentences after writing the verb forms for a few verbs. So this helped to identify the differences in the form easily. So see whatever strategy works for you. If for other persons this might work, please do so. I'm so happy that I was able to translate some of the sentences without needing to look anything up. And thank you for the homework solutions. It truly makes it easy to find mistakes and be able to correct them without having to ask questions. So I'm very happy to see that you were able to translate the sentences without needing to look anything up. That definitely shows your learning and your commitment. Okay, there is a nice suggestion from one person here. And I can increase the font size so that maybe you can see a little bit more clearly. So there is a comment here, thinking about the situation that some students feel overwhelmed when for other students the amount of homework is perfectly fine. I have a suggestion. Maybe if only 50% of the homework is required to be completed and rest of it is given for the purpose of practicing, they will not feel so overwhelmed. So that is a good suggestion. And as I said earlier also, that if you feel that homework is too much, feel free to do 50% of it so that you will get an idea of that how the things are working, how the translation is done, how the forms are to be used. And if that for this person it is saying that the amount of homework you are giving us is great for me, I learned by practicing and do your homework is the best way. So that is true. And if you are able to do that nothing like it. But suppose you are not able to do, just solve the half of the homework And whenever you have time after the course, maybe you can catch up later. Okay, here is the feedback question from this person. So he's saying, it's a long comment. If you want to read, you can read it. I'll increase the font size a little bit. So person is saying that one of the obstacles he is having is that with a large amount of new vocabulary which is coming with every chapter. So, and that is somehow he is not able to figure out how is it, because he's saying it's not organized in alphabetical order. So can spend a long time searching for each word, and there is usually far more vocabulary provided than is actually needed to complete the exercises. We are often presented with new words in a single week which are similar in spelling or meaning. So these obstacles can cause some confusion, and when there are many of them, much homework time can be spent scrolling through list of words trying to clarify. So I wanted to know if others among you who are solving the exercise are feeling the same issues. So if you are also facing the similar issues, please send us a comment. So there is a comment here regarding comment on vocabulary. There is a very useful glossary on page 419. I use it all the time, and that is true. So I do not know if you all understand that there is a glossary available in Sanskrit Subodhini in one place. So for example, I'll show you here. So if I go to the chapter 18th, let's say, and this is the chapter which we just saw, it will have a number of words introduced in this chapter towards the end of before the exercises. So he gives the vocabulary. Author has done a very good job here. So he gives the vocabulary here of the chapter. In this chapter, as I said, it's a lot of new vocabulary added, one full page. And you see, if it is a noun, he is putting that whether it's masculine or feminine and the meaning. This particular vocabulary is not ordered in any particular order, like alphabetically or otherwise in general, but there is some order, like ending in ikara, for example. So he is giving here vocabulary more from the perspective which will make sense to you from the chapter. So like all the ikaranta words are coming together, tari, tantri, istri, and it should be read like this: pati, sakhi, patni, sakhi. So you see ikaranta is coming: patni, sakhi, lakshmi, shri, tari, tantri, like that, istri. So that's how he has organized it here. So there is some organization here. And then he has also given a master glossary list at 419, as some of you pointed out. Actually, not 419, it's earlier. It starts from 410, I think. No, it starts from page number 419, sorry. Yeah, it does start. So this is organized Sanskrit English glossary. This is organized in the alphabetical order only. So here it is an alphabetical order here is as per Devanagari alphabet. So do not, if you get confused with the English alphabet, it will be a problem. It's because it's a Sanskrit word. These are organized with the Devanagari alphabet. So that is very clearly, and this is given in the I transliteration. So here for every word, he has given whether it's a masculine, feminine, neuter, if it's or indeclinable, if it's a nominative word. He has also given that word is used adjectively, as an adjective generally, or as a noun. Sometimes adjective and noun, they can interchange, but he has given generally that's how it is used. And then pronoun, if something is pronoun. So this is pretty useful, and I somehow feel like he has also given whether it's a preposition. So he has, and there is a he has also given the abbreviations. What do they mean? So I'm hoping that all of you are taking advantage of this glossary in order to look up the words. And it is very useful. And he has also given for the verbs. So like earth, for example, is a verb. He is giving the first third person singular form are the the, and then he is telling that which verbal class it belongs to, first group, and then whether it's Parasmaipadi or Atmanepadi. If you look at, he is also giving, the author has been giving here, like I'll show you the word gum, which is very common. Gum we already have seen, gachati, to go. It's the first group Parasmaipadi. And then he has given all the upasargas, all the prefixes. So if you want to see adhigachati, you will not find in akara. You have to come in the verbal case class and then see it is with the suffix prefix adhi. So it is combined with the root rather than separately a word adhigachati. So just keep that in mind in case that could be the confusion. So with this, I do not see why should there be a problem in looking up at the vocabulary, because that reference is pretty good. Similarly, you have mentioned here in the comment that you are seeing the receive is given as labhate or vindati, but I'm not sure why are you looking up the English to Sanskrit glossary instead of Sanskrit to English. We are only doing the translations from Sanskrit to English. We are not doing the English to Sanskrit translations. So if you want to check the labh, then you will find in Sanskrit to English glossary and also with. But I'm not sure why are you reverse looking up. That is required when we are doing the English to Sanskrit translations, which we are not doing for our course right now. So if you have specific cases where you are finding the problem, please send us an email. Anybody who is having these issues of this kind. So there is a suggestion here. My suggestion is perhaps we could be given a short list of only the most relevant words. We need to complete the exercise. That's what is given at the end of the chapter. For end of the lesson, that's precisely what the author has given. The list of the words which is required to complete the exercise in that chapter. So exercise of course helps, but you tell me specifically where are you having the problem, and sometimes it might be helpful for you that if you just note down manually by hand all the vocabulary in some of your register somewhere or on the computer, that will not only bring it to the memory faster, you will get familiarity with the words also. Because if there are words, there is a vocabulary, there is no way around it. It's a language. Any language which you want to learn, vocabulary is an integral part of the language. So in Sanskrit, actually, it's easier because if you learn the rules, the learning of vocabulary, the memorizing of need of vocabulary becomes less. Nevertheless, there would be vocabulary that you cannot do otherwise. So there's a comment here. Do I try to memorize each and every word, which takes up a large portion of my homework time? Do you consider it necessary to memorize all the vocabulary? I will not recommend you. Just like when you try to learn English, you do not memorize the dictionary. You just increase your exposure to the exercise, keep solving it again and again, and then the word will get into your memory. You will start understanding not only the meaning, but how is it used also. So please do that. And with this tool available in the book, I really feel that you should not have a problem with the vocabulary. So with this, but anytime you have a problem, please feel free to send your questions to the email. So I will conclude the class with the prayers. सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। Thank you everyone.